Well, let's start the podcast. We are here once again. Good evening, good morning, and good night. We come to you this week all the way from the furthest corners of the internet to bring you another great chat with some of the most fantastic human beings from this great bean pod we call life. As you know, chat. I have with me a delicious drink. We are drinking this Tanqueray premix. So it's a blackcurrant royale, gin and soda with some blackcurrants and vanilla. I actually really like them. First time I tried them was on Sunday on the stream, where I also made this delicious set of trail rations for Dungeons and Dragons. We always have trail rations. And this one here is an apple crumble that I made also on Sunday. But with that, we are ready to join our other adventurers in this party. So, all right, chat. I want you to prepare for battle, ready your weapons and roll for initiative, because striding towards this podcast with sword and shield in hand and glowing with powerful magic aura is the incredible Fenrir Live, also known as Alex.
Hi.
Here he is. Excellent. An absolute legend. You have seen him on this channel. He's one of my mods, so everyone behave. He's actually here in real life on the computer, so please be careful.
Right, I'm doing both.
You are doing both. So he's modding you and he's here in chat. So give yourself a little bit of a plug. Tell us about yourself, any projects you're currently working on, and where we can find you should we wish to look.
So I'm Fenrir Live on basically everything. You can find that. It's Fenrir _ live. I haven't really been doing much except for working with these fine gentlemen every Monday night on a little D&D group. That's been pretty fun.
That is true.
Besides that, just trying to keep busy, sane.
Yes, we're all trying to keep sane. It is excellent. It is excellent. But wait, chat. Suddenly your ears perk up at the sound of approaching footsteps. Turning around, you are struck by a powerful cone of charisma. I would like to tell you to roll your will save, chat, but it will not do any good against our second guest, who is this amazing gentleman, Matt, who is another dungeon master. Applause erupts from chat in the background.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome. Introduce
Thank you
yourself.
for having me.
Not a problem.
I am another DM called Matt, and yeah, just like Alex said, we've been running D&D Mondays at Carindale Hotel. It's been really great meeting heaps of new people and getting new players, old players coming in. I think the first table I ran had guys that hadn't played D&D in 25 years.
Yeah.
They had a ball. It was awesome.
Oh no, Fenrir is suffering an earthquake.
I know. I'm sorry, my bad.
Sometimes the cone of charisma is just too powerful.
Too powerful. We can't hold it back.
I gotta run away.
Dear Lord, dear Lord. And now I know you're not a huge social media and online personality like
Not
myself
yet.
and Fenrir, but would you like, if anyone in chat wanted to know a little bit more about you and what you do, where would they find you? What would you tell them?
I've just started an Instagram today to try and promote the D&D stuff that we're doing together and all the nerdy stuff that I enjoy. I have ADHD, I'm a collector of hobbies, I 3D print, I make stupid costumes for costume parties. Yeah, I see stuff on YouTube all the time and I'm like, I'm gonna give it a crack. I'm obsessed with it for 3 weeks. And then it sort of subsides, but I enjoy every moment of it. It's great.
That is awesome. I love it. I love it. Oh, chat. And with that, the tumbling sound of a million rolled dice and the familiar scent of turned pages, character sheets, and ringing in all your ears with the echoing of infinite stories told, the final member of our group has just rolled a natural 20 and is ready to seduce that dragon. It is myself. It is Nietzsche. I would like you to welcome yourselves to this Big Small World podcast, These Big Small Worlds. And this is episode 4, where we are discussing all things Dungeons and Dragons. This is a variety podcast. So every week you tune in, it's going to be a different theme. And that is super fine because it means I'm never going to run out of themes or wonderful people to talk to. Well, welcome to our guests, Fenrir Live, Alex and Matt. And thank you to chat for being here right now, and for those who will join us through this live stream and in the future, I assume YouTube and other podcast listeners, you will also be enjoying our sultry voices.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh yeah. yeah. Everyone talk with the lowest voice you can muster. Tough. Oh yeah. Now, first things first. This is the most important part of the show. We are a food and drink channel, so we have all brought in something to share, and I know it is why everyone tunes in. It's the viewers always drop off after this part, so we'll be by ourselves just chilling out. It's good. No, I'm over.
No pressure.
So yeah, tonight, as I said, I have a Tanqueray premix. It is blackcurrant and vanilla. Delicious. I'll share some of that with you later, chat. And I have my delicious, amazing. I'm going to eat some of that. But Fenrir, what did you bring to the table? What are you drinking, sir?
All right. So I'm drinking a Four Hearts Brewing Company. It is a strawberry and guava sour beer.
Ooh.
It's quite lovely. I like it.
That's interesting. I actually don't like sours that much. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whoa. Shots fired.
Controversial hot take.
And well, it wouldn't be Anzac Day if we didn't make Anzac biscuits.
Well played.
So I made those
Well
with the
played.
daughter, and yeah, they're delicious.
What about you, Mr. Matt, down the bottom here? What have you brought to the table?
Yes, I have brought a fine-aged Bilson's Fruit Tingle flavored vodka drink.
Excellent.
Got
And
nice
they-
earthy tones.
It tastes legitimately exactly like a Fruit Tingle lolly.
Well, I mean, Fruit Tingle cocktails are actually made primarily with vodka, so
Yeah. I'm more of a spiced rum guy myself. I
You look
it
like
in
a
sour
spiced rum guy.
cherries. Yeah,
Me too.
thank
I
you.
love bourbon.
yeah.
But yeah, these are not bad at all.
Delicious. Well, I'm very, very happy you guys are fed, rested, and ready for adventure. A little bit of background chat. Recently, we have started a Dungeons & Dragons club at a pub. It is Pub D&D. Absolutely amazing. In the lounge at our restaurant. Really, really cool. We had, we've had between like 20 and 30 people every single session, which is
Yep.
insane.
We just had enough DMs to cover
Yeah.
it last time.
Yeah, so if you know how to dungeon master and you're in the Brisbane area, please look me up because we need more people. Because, oh my God, we have so many people keen to play Dungeons and Dragons. It is excellent. Format is there is an overarching story. They're all part of a guild, but every night they form little groups and they go on one-shot adventures. And all those one-shot adventures added together equal progression for the main story. It's really good, really casual, really easy to pick up and play. I think it's amazing. How are you guys finding our new club?
It's good. All right, yeah, it's been really fun. Getting out, meeting new people, it's always great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good environment because, you know, in the D&D community, everyone's very like-minded. Most of the people there are there to play, so there's no drama involved, and yeah, just everyone has a great time. It's the best thing.
Yeah, it's a good mix of like experienced players and new players as well, I'm finding.
Yeah.
Where there is quite a mix of people that are playing. So you do get those who are more experienced and they're supporting those new players and showing them, because it feels like a big jump sometimes to get into Dungeons and Dragons. There's a lot, it feels like a lot. But it's actually
100%.
it's actually quite accessible. As long as you've got someone there to show you and guide you, and I think we've done pretty well with that. I mean, you were saying today, Matt, you had some people that hadn't played in 20 years?
25 years.
25
yeah.
years. It's been 25 years since they played. And now they are playing again. It is really excellent. So.
Well, one of them left the table. I felt bad at the time because he was playing a paladin, and everyone else sort of had a class that was a bit simpler to sort of just say, yeah, this is what you focus on for tonight. You shoot really well. You stab really well.
Nice.
Everyone was easy, and I said the paladin, you've got a lot of opportunities to do a lot of different things. And he said, no, that's fine. I'll stick with it, because I offered him a barbarian to play halfway through. He goes, no, I'll stick with it. And when he left, he said he was going to go home and read up and learn how to play a paladin. It was awesome.
Wow.
That is commitment. And so really got into it. I love it. And, and it is so good for people to have that outlet where they can experiment and play and just be someone else for a minute. Really, really fun. Dungeons and Dragons is excellent. It is all things to all men, as they say. Well,
Yeah, well, I think Stranger Things really helped bring a lot of people new into it as well, which has been
Definitely.
great.
And
Definitely.
community.
Exactly. Yeah.
it also made it mainstream. It was really good in terms of bringing it out of the shadows of
Oh, it's this nerdy game with your little
Yeah.
box. And
like
I
a
mean,
sub.
they're not wrong, but
Yeah.
yeah, well, true. Yeah. Our shiny math up top.
But it
Yeah,
became
that's great.
less of a subculture and more of a mainstream cultural icon. And I think that was really important. So it was a big step.
We thought we'd have a D&D movie out.
Well, yeah, and a good one. It is so good.
Yeah, a good one.
Let's just take a second.
Hey, spoilers, all right.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to talk about spoilers, but it is actually a great movie. It's very funny. Even if you've never played Dungeons and Dragons, go see it. It will just be a fun fantasy movie for you. If you have played Dungeons and Dragons, you will find so many beautiful little Easter eggs and funny things. And the thing about Dungeons and Dragons is that everything feels kind of weird, right? Like it is just a bit of it's like a comedy skit the whole time. There's always stuff happening and the heroes are successful, but silly as they do it. And it is fun to play. So I feel like the movie really captured that. Have you guys both seen it?
No,
I have not.
Okay.
I know.
Fenrir, hold on, let me point. I get confused here. Fenrir, there you are. Fenrir, you're coming to the movie with me and we're going to see it. You and I are going to go see that movie together.
I'll
drag you out.
It's
Excellent. We'll invite you, Matt. We'll invite you.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do a better movie than the other D&D movie that it came out with. 15 years ago.
But they tried to be too serious in that movie. They tried to be too serious. Dungeons and Dragons should be funny. Okay, for instance...
The cartoon, that's a good one.
The cartoon was pretty funny. Okay, maybe this is a good place to start. Before we dig into the questions, because we're about to do that as well. So you two get prepared, because they're going to be tough, hard-hitting questions. Maybe we should start with just doing a brief synopsis of the last games we played on Monday night, because they were actually really hilarious. I had, in my group, a first-time player who picked up a barbarian and decided that they were a pacifist barbarian, which was hilarious, because every single fight, they sat down and burnt citronella candles and just hoped for the best. Really, really, really completely useless. Oh yeah, completely useless.
You have to take a level of monk if you start lighting incense in every fight.
But the other players really engaged with it, and it became this like running gag for the entire battle. You like this barbarian, Annika? Yeah, Annika in chat says they like the barbarian. Ended up talking the apothecary into giving a potion of cat, which doesn't exist, but I made up, and. This was just a weird potion that they put in like a padded wooden box and made it clear to be very careful with. And long story short, they battled through this whole thing, disappearing villagers, old god breaking out of a stone prison from before the world existed, tentacle monster basically. The barbarian gives the potion to the wizard, who throws it at the tentacle monster and turns the tentacle monster into a cat. Now, the tentacle monster is still an old god of infinite existence, but it is no longer in control. On top of that ocean is a floating bubble of cat. As far as it's concerned, it's always been a cat, and it just is a cat. And it can shadow step, and it just assumed everyone could do that, and it's quite confused by the fact that people can't step into one shadow and out of another. But apart from that, it's just a normal cat. So yeah, that was my adventure. We turned an old elder god into a cat.
Well, Matt, have you ever looked at a cat's eyes before? They are an elder god, all right?
That is true.
Stuff behind there is just not right.
Yeah, it was not a stretch. Matt, do you want to do a brief synopsis of your game from Monday?
Yes, my party joined a druid that is allergic to pollen as they had to recover a cart of herbs from a lizard folk tribe to stop a dark ritual. I titled the scenario "Druid, Where's My Cart?" and they went through, succeeded on a couple of traps, got to a stone temple, where they got grabbed by this giant plant monster. The plant monster was completely harmless. He was actually grabbing them with his vines to lift them off the floor before the floor collapses in a trap.
Ah, the old switcheroo.
Yes, the paladin was the only one that made a run for it and fell into the spike trap. Everyone else got lifted up and saved by this plant. And then they went on for this big boss fight with these shamans that they killed in one turn.
Nice. Yeah, that'll sort it out.
I didn't attack them once in the boss fight.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens. I remember I had a game years ago where a guy triple natural 20 and killed a dragon. Just had a
because I had to be out by 8:30 and I was like, guys, you did it. You smashed it and I'm so glad. And I think I came over to you and I said, they had an efficient amount of fun. We're done. I'm going.
Efficient amount of fun. And Fenrir, what about yours?
Yeah, mine, they had to go investigate a bunch of ships that have gone missing. Unfortunately, there was only one person left that could take them, who was, in fact, a Khajiit, terrified of water.
A Khajiit terrified of water. on the high seas.
Why do we do this?
Yes, because why not? So she spent most of her time hiding from the water. Yeah, they ended up fighting a black dragon.
Oh, wow. Just
yeah,
scaling them up
yeah.
gradually then.
Yeah, of course, making it easy. Yeah, there was one person in the group who was this kind of like a gremlin, I suppose, who would ride around on a flying broom.
Okay.
But yeah, so she decided that it would be a good idea to fly past this thing and smack it with her axe, missing entirely, getting angry, beginning to rage, and then swat it away as if it was like a fly, just smacked her straight into the water. Yeah, luckily, the rest of the group kind of bonded together, and yeah, she ended up making the killing blow anyway, so.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Mate, our paladin
she had
didn't
fun.
hit anything. Like she rolled so many failed rolls that week. Just the dice, man. The dice. The devil's in the dice.
I was rolling terrible for the NPCs, but when I was the dragon, it was like 20s and like just ridiculous.
Oh, man. Oh, well. No, that's awesome.
I definitely rolled better than last week.
Yeah, well, yeah, I didn't get 7 natural ones this time.
Yeah.
Well, that is Dungeons and Dragons in a nutshell, chat. If you weren't sure before, you are now. Well, I think we need to get to the topic at hand anyway. So you find yourself suddenly walking through a mist of questions as towers loom all around you with the menly, faceless faces of the internet watching your every move. It is now time to proceed with the questions at hand and let chat find out all about you. Our adventure begins. Bum, bum, bum. The topic tonight is Dungeons and Dragons, if you had not yet guessed. So, the two of you, I definitely didn't give you these questions ahead of time to practice, and so you could actually answer in a decent way. Because no, that is true, I did. I like my guests to have a bit of time to think about their answers, so I'm not trying to catch them on the spot. This is not gotcha journalism. This is a podcast, not a prison, damn it. That's what Annika told me, and I'm sticking with it. Let's start. Fenrir, you've been on the channel before. Let's go with you. You're guest one.
All right.
So,
Okay.
question number one.
Take that. I'm better.
Yeah. Wow.
You have it.
Wow. Well, he's on the top shelf up here, apparently. So,
Come with the belt.
that's right. So let's start with a nice, simple question to you both. And we'll start with Fenrir's answer. Right, this is like a rats in the tavern basement level, easy level 1 question to answer. But when did you start playing Dungeons and Dragons? Right, because everyone had a start. Everyone had that one moment of aha, wow, this is cool. What was yours?
Yeah, so I first got into it when I was in grade 8. You were at grade 12, I believe. Where you were out.
Drink up. We're hydrating.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, Maddie. So actually, those of you who don't know, I'm going to dob him in. Sodosif here, Maddie, he actually comes along to the Dungeons & Dragons Mondays. Yeah.
Yes.
Has he played at our tables?
He's extremely tall. You do know him.
Yeah. He was
couldn't miss
helping
him.
out.
He was helping out first night. Yeah.
Oh, Matt.
Absolute legend. Yeah,
yeah.
the other Matt. A different Matt. I know it's nice and confusing.
The other Matt.
But it's the other Matt. But yes,
Fourth Matt.
back to Fenrir. Now that we've Lady Wintergreen.
Yeah, we
Yeah. So now that we did interrupt your answer, Fenrir, let's get back to it. So
Just derailed my whole thing.
I
It's
was in year 12. You were in year 8. That does sound about right. We're about 4 years apart. So
Yeah, so that was like 2002, because I believe I graduated 2006. So what's that, 21 years ago now? That was
possibly
a long
that.
time.
Yes.
I remember you brought in some books one day, and we all kind of were like, hell yeah, let's give this a go. And I remember I made a druid as my first character. And
Druid. Very interesting.
she died straight away because I thought, it's a gnome, I could take that on. Little did I know that they run in packs, and I could not take it on. But yeah, after that, we had that massive game where we went for a few months, actually, that it's maybe even a year went on for, and that was probably my first real big game that I ever played, and from there I was hooked.
Dude, that's awesome. And like I like that I can be partially responsible for bringing you into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. That does make me happy.
Yes.
That does make me
Without
happy.
you, I would not be here today.
Wow, copy that. Whew. It's putting a lot of weight on my shoulders here.
Put that pressure down.
Yeah, of course. That's why I'm getting shorter in my old age. And Matt, yourself, same question, right? When did you start playing Dungeons and Dragons? Like, what was your introduction? What was the spark that made you interested?
The spark that made me interested would have been growing up. Like, we actually watched the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon when it was on. We watched like He-Man, She-Ra, Thundercats, all these like fantasy shows, and it always really resonated with me for some reason. And I just grew up loving that sort of thing. Any new sort of fantasy show or cartoon, I'll be right into it. And then I would say I've played a lot of tabletop games as well that has kept me interested over time, but my first time playing official D&D, I say, would have been about 10 years ago.
Yeah, nice.
Just went into like a little game store, played a little 2-hour session, not dissimilar from what we do now. And it got its hooks into me, and then I was buying books, I was painting minis, I was doing everything to be part of D&D. Yeah.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
That's how they get you.
The first taste is free.
The first taste is sweet, yeah. You're going to be paid for it afterwards. But the good thing about it, the good thing about Dungeons and Dragons is there's a lot of free resource on the internet. And also, you only really
100%.
need one copy of the books, right? Only one of you needs the books and you can play in group, right? So not everyone needs to buy the game, so to speak, which is pretty excellent.
Yeah, and everyone is new and starting at the same time. You don't need all these official books. You can go, I don't know what that spell does. And you're like, I don't either. So
what's his homebrew?
Let's Google it and find out and go, okay, cool.
Also, I'm fairly sure you can just go to the Wizards of the Coast site and they have PDFs of it all up there that you can use. Like, you don't have to buy the books, but it's that having the hard copies that a lot of people,
Office works is cheap, just print it.
and look,
10,000 colours.
We talk about theatre of the mind a lot, right? So you can play with miniatures and maps, but you can also, I think Dungeons and Dragons in its purest form is just storytelling. It's just us sitting there, and the Dungeon Master is filling the world with life, and the players are choosing their own adventure at every second. And it's really, really cool collective storytelling. It's very fun. Very, very fun. I like it. I guess for me, I should answer this question myself. For me, I think it would have been when I was in about year 8. Hey, good night, Annika. Thank you very much. You can listen to the rest of it. Good night. And I see
you
Grim.
can listen to it so you fall asleep.
That's true. I see Grim's in chat as well, banning bots with his big bot hammer and bot slaying sword. Thank you very much, Grim. If you are hanging around, you're basically an online dungeon master.
D20 mace is critical hit.
Get out of here, says Grim. Hey, Ella's here too. Hey. How you going?
Yo.
Ella is also a mod. Grim is also a mod, so they're hanging out. You got to better be careful now, chat. They are playing Dungeons and Dragons in chat with their big swords, so just watch out.
Oh.
I think I was in about year 8. That's where I was going. I was in about year 8 when I started playing, and it was just a friend of mine, and actually Fenrir's brother was part of this group as well. And we just he had some books. And who has a big sword, says Sodosif? It's definitely you, I'm assuming. Mate, I just got stuck in. I think I had a ranger. My first character was a ranger, and I loved it. But I'd grown up on Legend of Zelda, like the original Legend of Zelda, and that just instilled this sense of adventure. And like you said, the Dungeons and Dragons cartoons, the Legend of Zelda cartoons, just everything fantasy was just amazing to me. So I really got stuck into it, and reading books, it just filled me with that sense of adventure. And I remember I used to go wandering around like farms and stuff where we'd go on holiday and pretend I was Link and like exploring Hyrule. Like, that's the level of commitment I had. So a long time. God, a long time. How old would I have been in year 8? It's got to be like 20 years ago. Holy crap. Okay, it's a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe less than 20. But I'm not that old, but yeah, it's a long time ago. Yeah, possibly. Well, Matt, we were just talking to you about question 1, right? Yep. So let's stay with you then. I am showing my age, Ella, that is true. I'm extremely old. You've seen all my grey hairs? That's how you can tell. I'll get a
You
close
can't
up
tell,
one
but he
day.
has a walking stick under there.
I do, yeah. I just walk around with a walking stick. You guys can't see it in the kitchen when I'm cooking, but here I'm definitely a walking stick. So, Matt, stay with you down in the basement, killing rats down there. We all have one, right? You can always tell a lot about a player by this question. So, what is your favorite character you have ever created or played?
This was tough. This was
Tough
tough. This was picking a favorite child.
Picking a
okay?
favorite child?
We obviously have one, but we can't say. I have one Kelsavan Travaine that was like a Hexblade Warlock.
Nice.
He started off as a foil for one of the characters, but they ended up becoming best friends in this weird way that their pasts were entwined, and they didn't know that when I created him, but it just happened.
I love how D&D is organic like that, right? Like things you don't plan. I didn't plan to turn an elder great, a god, into a cat on Monday, yesterday, but it happened organically.
Like, people in the chat, if you've never played D&D, it is, as a DM, we're like directors or script writers, and you hand your script over to the actors, but they don't have any dialogue. They choose their dialogue. They choose whether they stand over here or go over there, or I'm going to hit this guy when you were just supposed to have a harmless conversation.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to seduce that dragon.
Yeah, and it's kind of foolish of us to assume that we have a coherent movie going ahead when the actors are not there to work for us. They're doing their own thing and creating their own story, like you say, organically together. So that was Kel. And then the other one, which is my player's favorite NPC, is just a shopkeep called Old Gus. He talks like an old-timey prospector. But every time that they meet Gus, because he can teleport from place to place, and it has a mobile magic shop called a Gus Station.
I'm thinking Beetle the Bard, but older.
Yeah, so it'll say like 10 miles to the nearest Gus Station, and then they'll go, oh, well, I'm going to head over there because I want a new sword or something cool from Gus. And they'll walk in and he'll just go like, well, hey there, boys, how you doing? And then they just say, they're so excited to see this guy. And I'm like, it's me. It's still me. I'm doing a silly voice and I'm putting on a character, but you do get transported into this world where you're in a shop talking to this guy, and they're telling me about their adventure that I've sent them on. Like, it's ridiculous, but it's fun.
That is so funny.
Some of the best times of D&D is when their characters are just talking amongst themselves and you're not even involved. You're just watching like a cutscene. It's great.
You watch that magic happen.
Yeah, it's nothing like it.
That's super cool. I already am in love with old Gus. So Ella in chat has said that they're thinking of all the bullshit they've pulled in D&D before. Definitely save that, Ella, because I would love to hear about that at the end.
Hey, Spring
Roll, get out of town. That is too many viewers, Spring Roll. What are you doing? What are you guys doing here? Oh, hi. Hi, Edza. How are you going? Down? Wow. So, do you mean Dota 3, right? You got abandoned by Spring Roll? Well, welcome. welcome. Captain Sad Boy, show puppers. I don't know where he is. He might be sleeping. Hold on. Puppy. Let's see if I can get him. He might be asleep. He's an old puppy. We'll see. Hey, welcome, viewers.
We both looked.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome very much. We're talking about Dungeons and Dragons on episode 4 of These Big Small World podcasts. Welcome in, Raiders, you absolute legends. What have you been doing your whole life playing Dota 3 now? I don't know if you know about Dota, which I'm assuming you do. I was just talking to Edza earlier, maybe 2 days ago. It feels like Dota 3 to me, right? It's a completely different game. Sorry, off topic for this podcast, but oh my God, it feels like Dota 3. We are doing a pretty good job. Yeah, pretty good job here. Man, it is It is really weird. I'm just going to put it out there. I like it. I also think it's like Dota 3. But yes, welcome to this Big Small World podcast called These Big Small Worlds. We are talking about Dungeons & Dragons tonight. We've just asked Matt here, actually, what his favorite character he has ever made or played was. He answered very well. I think my favorite of his two was Old Gus, who was a teleporting prospector shopkeep, I believe. You want to do the voice, Matt? Do the voice for chat.
Well, hey there, chat. How you doing?
Yeah, Old Gus, classic. And Fenrir, I guess I should get everything back on track and ask you the same question. Now, you can always tell a lot about players by what the answer to this question is, chat. What is your favorite character you've ever created or played?
It's a good question. God, there's so many over the time. It's hard to kind of pick one.
Hold on.
I mean, like...
Maddie says, where'd Matt go? All we can see is Old Gus. Oh no! All right, back to Fenrir. Back to Fenrir. What are we doing here?
Right, look, we're going to Matt, all right?
Yeah.
It's the Old Gus show.
It's the Old Gus show now. It's all been a ruse, chat. This was all just a ruse to get you to watch Old Gus.
Don't, my fiance will kill me. She's gonna wake up if I keep talking.
Okay, Fenrir, favorite character you ever made, created, played? What is it, sir?
Sentimentally, we would have to go with, your first character that you make.
Oh, okay, yeah, first character ever.
You gotta have that sentimental. You get an attachment to this, character, and
which
hold on, part of everything you do.
That was a druid you said earlier. So earlier you revealed your first ever character was a druid that died almost instantly. So are you still mourning that loss? Is that what's going on?
No, I made another one directly afterward by pretending that other one didn't work. All right?
Okay, cool. All right, makes sense.
Which was exactly the same character, just real life,
Yeah, okay. Just re-alived.
Yeah,
I like
just re-alived.
Excellent.
So she was a half celestial.
Okay.
Oh god, it was crazy. Traveled around most of the time with little halfling rogue who seemed to disappear whenever there was trouble. So that was great.
Yeah.
I think she got bitten by a werebear at one point and thought that she was invincible and decided to pick a fight with a pit fiend and 1v1 this thing.
Yeah, well done.
It didn't end the best, but she had fun.
Oh god. Ella says poor druid. I agree, Ella.
Yes, thank you. I agree. Yeah. Everyone F in chat for the druid.
All right,
other than that, I think there was another one of your games that I played in. We were essentially like reincarnated gods.
Yeah, I remember that. God, that was our big campaign, man. So all the
custom gear and weapons.
Huge. I had a big map. I drew the entire map of the world. It was huge.
It was massive.
Man, that was a big one. And they were all like kids from the same village, that old trope, who go on an adventure and just get dragged into this world and discover that they are reincarnations of gods that have to recover their strength. Super cool.
Sick.
It was really good. It was great. And then that was my first experience too, because we did something in there where you gave us a secondary character that was along with the first. So
you each had a mouse.
We were essentially running. We were running two characters. It was kind of like like your partner.
Oh yeah, of course. You all had a wife or partner who you paired with. Yeah, I remember that. Wow, that's a long time
we were
ago.
all elements, and I was water and cold.
Yeah, I think so.
And so my partner was shadow and something.
Oh man. Anyway,
we're space or something. Yes.
It's entertaining TV as we try to remember. Poor old man brains over here trying to figure out what we did 15 years ago. Man, I got to tell you guys. My favorite character I ever played was a guild master called Quillane, right? And Quillane was a bard and a rogue, and just like the smoothest lady you'll ever meet. Just really quietly confident, quite powerful, but not over the top in bravado. High charisma, just very fun to play. And she was essentially a DM character NPC that I could play along with the characters and lead them on quests and help them. Man, it's just Perfect character creation from my point of view. My favorite one that just felt easy to play. That's my favorite character. I'm just revealing that, chat. So yes, perhaps
Because he was the forever DM.
I was a forever DM. I love playing as a dungeon master. So for me, I like running the games. I like talking and telling the story and making the world, right? Because I want these people to feel like they can be part of something big. And I love watching people interact in my world. I don't plan stories, I make a world, and then I just go with whatever the players want to do in that world. And I will play along. I plan almost nothing. I just make a space and let the players loose, and I'm like, cool, that sounds like fun. I want to know what happens. Let's go. Super good.
See, I think when I first started DMing, I went the opposite way. You know, you write out this whole big story arc for them to go on, and you've got it all there, and it looks awesome. And then you're playing it through, they're doing everything right. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh, this random fucking like cabbage over here is talking to me. I'm just gonna spend the next like 6 days just traveling around with this talking cabbage, and
goes off the rails.
Ever
really
since
fast.
then, I'm just like, you know what? Let's just ad-lib this. Let's just go along and find out what this sentient cabbage is all about.
Dude, it happens all the time. That's why Dungeons and Dragons should be fluid, in my opinion. It is fun. You can plan out a lot of stuff, but
never write a whole story.
You can plan for everything.
Have a beginning and an end, and
Yeah.
everything else is just hearsay.
Yeah, super funny. There you go. DM tips from the 3 Dungeon Masters from Monday Night Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, make shit up.
Just play solo, it's easier. You can plan ahead.
yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Isn't that called writing a book?
It's called writing a book, yeah. Well done. Okay, well, we need to keep this on track. So, we'll stay with Fenrir over... Where are you, Fenrir? Over here. I love pointing because my camera's
Here I am.
in weird places. So, we need to discuss some finer points about Dungeons and Dragons, right? So, why do you think Dungeons and Dragons makes the world a better place, right? It brings out so much in us, and it means so much to a lot of people, right? So how has it affected you personally? And how have you seen it affect others in positive ways?
Okay, yeah, well.
Big question.
Getting really,
100 experience if you answer this.
Deep and meaningful over here. There's another DM for you. I think for me early on, like, I had a lot of trouble with school, and I found that D&D and things like that were a good escape from the reality for a moment to kind of live out these like what you wish that you could do, be the best you, and go on these epic adventures with friends, and it was just kind of like a bit of an escape from reality for a moment that kind of made everything a bit easier. I guess seeing like all these other people that find the same sort of what's the word I'm looking for, like enjoyment out of it. Like you see the smiles on the people's faces when they're playing the game, or their character does something like epic and everyone's cheering, and it becomes more of like a less like a game and more like just an experience that you're all in together.
Friendship.
The friendship is magic. Look, My Little Pony have it there.
Oh no, can we all pull like Sailor Moon poses? The power of friendship.
Man, no, I just got confused with Ginyu Force. I was still like this.
We're all in different fandoms here. We got My Little Pony, Sailor Moon, and Ginjin Force.
Look, My Little Pony was the first thing that came into mind. I have a 7-year-old. My Little Pony is live.
It's live.
I just found out that Netflix only have the first like 12 episodes. It's that on repeat all day, every day.
Great. Actually,
lovely.
On Monday, one of the Dungeon Masters, for those of you who just come in, because I know a load of you just arrived, we play a Monday night pub Dungeons and Dragons. So we run a Dungeons and Dragons club at a pub. Is super excellent. We get between like 25 and 40 people show up every Monday so far, out of our 2 Mondays we've done.
All of them.
People, it's been going for at least 2 weeks. It's super good. But people are really keen. They are like signing up and coming week after week now, and they're really, really excited to have a space where they can play. It's really cool. But someone did run, like this week, we had a new Dungeon Master. She ran a Unicorn Island adventure.
I found some dice as well.
Yes.
Oh, you can't really see it, but they're rainbow. They've got
Rainbow dice.
fluffy clouds and stuff. They look awesome.
Actually, speaking of sharing shit that just like on, did you guys see my post that I did on Instagram for you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
No.
you'll have to pick which cat you are. I'm obviously the
Oh god.
I'm obviously the cat here that's the dungeon master. But which cat do you guys want to be? I actually thought that Matt might be that fuzzy one with the axe. Looks more like you, and the other one that's with the green cape might be Fenrir.
Hold on, let me get back to it so I can re-look at it.
You'll have to follow me on Instagram.
That's right, I will. Oh,
3 followers and counting.
3 followers and counting.
Yep. So, God. Well, you're running this, so you have to be the guy behind the DM screen.
Exactly.
So that only leaves one left, but I'll take it.
Look, I was just trying to find cute
my
cats,
axe.
mate. Cute cats. Well, cool. So,
But yeah, so finishing what I was saying before, I think you kind of worded it really well with that, introducing everyone to the D&D night that we've been doing. Really, it just becomes a safe space for people to be themselves. It's like it's a safe environment for these people to enjoy what they like without ridicule or anything like that. And it's when people come together, they're all just helping each other. Like on those nights, you have new people and veterans, and everyone's just helping each other and having fun. And at the end of the day, as long as everyone's happy, that's a win.
But I mean, I'll go to Matt in a second, but I just want to add to that, right? Something that I really find Dungeons and Dragons is really good for is just, you were saying it's a safe space to be who you want to be, but it's also a safe space to try new aspects of your personality and try. If you're an introverted person, it's a good safe space to be someone else for a minute and try being a little bit extroverted and try interacting
be that
with
crazy
people.
bard.
Or I'm not on like the LGBT spectrum, right? But I've played as female and male characters before, and I feel that has given me like a bit more of an insight into not really seeing myself as just being, a guy. Like it's I can only imagine how effective that would be for people who might be a bit shy or who might be, experimenting with gender ideas or, how they see themselves, and letting them try that sort of stuff in a safe space. It just, it could be really cool. I'm just sort of throwing that out there. I've seen people that have discovered themselves through Dungeons and Dragons. So, Matt, what about you? What have you noticed Dungeons and Dragons making the world a better place for yourself or others?
I would definitely say that D&D has helped me, I wouldn't say be less judgmental, but I'd say be less assuming of...
You're still very judgmental.
Yeah, 100%. I am still very judgmental, but I'd say less assuming of what people's capacity for imagination is. Like, you might see, like, the table I played with on Monday, they just look like a bunch of rowdy boys coming in for beers at a pub.
Yeah.
And then you sit down with them and they're trying voices and doing accents and like really getting into it. And you go, this is awesome, man. Like these guys just look like regular dudes just hanging out at a pub, and now they're mighty warriors or druids, and really enjoy themselves. And I feel like everyone should at least give it a try.
And you can have a beer and a palmy while you're doing it.
It's the best part.
It's the best part. It's the
Delicious
best part.
Palmies. And I'd say what you guys both said is right. Like, it does allow people to, be maybe a bigger version of themselves. Like, or even, like you say, discovering aspects of themselves that they didn't even know that existed. Yeah. They're just trying something new, and you watch someone that might be quite timid, because there is a high crossover between D&D players and socially anxious people. And you see people join a table with someone they've never met. They start talking to them, they're working together, collaborating on a goal, they're, talking out of character and in character together, and usually that sort of thing might be quite daunting for them, and they don't even realize that they're no longer being shy or timid.
Yeah.
They're just, out of their shell without even realizing it.
That happened with my barbarian. The pacifist barbarian really just was kind of afraid to make choices and just I'll just sit down and put my candles out, and then the rest of the players egging them on and being like, oh wow, this is really funny. The barbarian please help us.
Yeah.
And the barbarian's just the players are saying, please help, right? But the player themselves, the character is saying please help, but the players are just this is hilarious because you haven't helped at all, and you're our big hitter, right?
But they think it's hilarious.
Yeah, and that just really got her out of her shell, and by the end she was being really funny and telling the wizard, she's like, here's this potion, you throw it, you do the thing, right? So that was really nice to see, really nice to see. I'm just going to put it out there, so
yeah. I think it was on Dan's podcast actually. One of his guests said that D&D is not therapy, but it is therapeutic. It can help you work through stuff or open up.
True that. Good answers, lads. Good answers. Well,
getting in with the deep and meaningfuls over here.
So that's the DM, mate.
There's the D and M's, the DMs. That's how we're doing it. Yo, cool. So Matt, let's stay with you then, right?
Oh no.
We're gonna bring it back to our quest path, right? We've just gone off on a side quest. We're back on the main quest, and I'm gonna railroad you back into the story here. But what is the silliest, most fun thing that you've seen me? Oh, quick! Buy followers, and then someone ban that. Oh my God.
Ella in quick.
Ella with her +1 moderator longsword kills the bot in chat.
Okay, so
that's what happens when Grim leaves.
That's what happens when Grim leaves. Yeah. Bonk. Well played, Ella. 100 experience for you, Matt.
Well done.
What is the most fun or silliest thing you've ever seen or done in a game of D&D?
I had to think about this because there was a lot. But I would say the campaign that I've been running for the last 3-4 years. It started off, I thought it was going to be a great idea to make a song recap of what they did in the previous session.
Oh no.
No. Using existing songs and rewriting them, and then I would give them to the bard to perform. So the first one was 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton.
Oh, yeah, I know.
One. That got
and I wonder.
Yeah. And then the second one was Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus.
Oh, I love it. God, that's got to be funny.
Once the party hit Fandolin for the first time.
And you're going to sing these later, is that right? I heard you're going to sing these at the end of the podcast.
100%. Yeah. Oh, wait, my mic, hang on. I'm having...
I can't, hello? What? I can't speak. Sorry.
If we get 10,000 people in chat, I'll sing it as old.
There you go. 10,000
as
people
old
in
Gus.
chat. Sing it as old Gus.
Bring it out the old Gus.
And then the third one was when I did a solo session for every player. This was during COVID, so we couldn't all get together. So I did a solo session just to work with everyone's schedule. That was Ironic by Alanis Morissette. So I had to rewrite a song with new lyrics for 3 separate adventures, all rhyming with Ironic. It was tricky, but it was very effective. And the the player bard has no musical talent whatsoever. So it's the biggest reward to watch him have to perform it once I do it.
That is super funny. I love it, man.
I will bring lyrics next time. Next Monday.
Lyrics are coming. Lyrics are coming, chat. We'll share them on Discord. Fenrir, yourself, what is the silliest or most fun thing you've ever done in a game of Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh, God. I don't know, it doesn't sound as good as making up songs anymore, you know?
I should let you go first.
He's steamrolling me again, you see? This is the game night with the books all over again.
For those of you who don't know,
Yeah.
Matt here actually makes these amazing books that, like adventures that look like official Dungeons and Dragons books.
Alex does now too.
I
Yeah,
do that
Alex
too,
does
yeah.
now too. Yeah,
Taught
I'm
me.
very
I
impressed.
learned.
I'm
I
very
learned
impressed.
The ways of the map.
The ways of the Matt.
Actually, if you do come in future weeks to the D&D Mondays, I will be running a Wild West adventure eventually, so there will definitely be a character that sounds exactly like Old Gus in there
Yeah.
somewhere.
So if you're in
Except
Brisbane,
with
come along
more
on a
of an
Monday.
Australian accent.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah,
third
it's
one
got
will be
the
good.
accent.
All right, we're giving you enough time to stall, Fenrir. What's your
Yeah, cool,
silliest
thanks.
thing?
Honestly, all I can think of is what happened in one of my most recent games. But
Yeah.
I say most recent, but that's still like 4 years ago. So I was playing with my old friend, big group of us, so we'd always get together or try to at least. So the plan was there was 4 of them, and they had to essentially tail these smugglers in a real close knit, like almost like old school London sort of themes. And for some reason, instead of the rogue doing it, the paladin in full plate armor thought it would be okay if he followed them from the rooftop, as one does.
Cool.
So, we're looking at like 3-story buildings here as he's like, running across these rooftops in his full plate. And so they're watching something transpire down below, and he's like, he can't see properly, so he's like, I got to get, across to the other side of the roof across from me. It's not far. It's like, 3 feet. I can jump that. That's not a problem. So he gets this run up and rolls, and he gets a 1.
Oh no!
So
in
he
Dungeons and
slips.
Dragons, if you don't know, chat, in Dungeons and Dragons, a 20-sided dice is your main best friend or worst enemy. 20 is a critical success. You do something you shouldn't be able to do. And 1 is a critical failure, where whatever you were trying to do fails miserably. And sometimes with hilarious effects.
Yep.
So playing on to that, so he slipped on the roof and fell down through the gap. The is, I gave him a chance to stop himself or fix himself up a bit. So he rolled again, but he got a 20. So I was like, oh, okay, you're able to kind of grab yourself off on the thing. But he's like, no. The guy's below me, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, no, I'll fall.
I'll fall.
So this like giant paladin in full plate just falls 3 stories down on top of this guy.
Oh.
He takes a bit of damage. He breaks his leg and his arm, but essentially he turns this smuggler into an accordion.
Oh.
Like just flat from the
Brutal.
top down. And I just remember that everybody just losing their shit for a good 20 minutes from this just absolutely ridiculous scene of rolls.
Oh man.
And that's probably the one that I could think of the most, and that's kind of stuck.
Yes. Ella in chat says oof. I say big oof to that. This is very
Big
good.
oof.
Ella's
But
also
hey, he chose to fall.
yeah. Ella's also tempted to do a trip to our Dungeons and Dragons night. You are always welcome,
Yeah.
Ella.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Come.
Do it.
I'm running an
Do
Alice
it.
in Wonderland one soon. Too.
Alice in Wonderland one's going to be hilarious.
I'm looking forward to
Look,
that.
I'm going to add my 2 cents to this because I have a character that I played that I think was one of my funniest, silliest characters to roleplay. And I have one from a player that I DM'd, which I think was absolutely fucking ingenious, right? So I'm just going to share mine first because I think mine is second tier to hers. So my character was a sorcerer who only had area of effect explosive magic. That's all he ever had. And he had essentially 2 personalities. The first was a mix between, what I was going for here was like a space cadet weirdo and like a Doctor Who or like a Sherlock Holmes, but kind of insane, right? Absolutely no help whatsoever, right?
It's Benedict Cumberbatch.
You gotta come, Ella.
Yeah, Ella will have to come one day. So, I remember people are looking to try to get through a door and they're trying to decide which door. There's like one of these doors that's going to lead them somewhere to death and the other one's going to get them somewhere good, and they're trying to decide. And he just after the other players have been talking for 5 minutes about this riddle, he just interjects and says, wait. somebody's right, then we go left, right? But then if there's nobody left, we can go right. And I remember every other player at the table just like stopped and stared at me silently for about like 5 or 6 seconds because I had no input in the game for 5 minutes and just interjected with that out of nowhere. And he would walk into battle and cast Fireball at his own feet in the middle of the battle. And then he had all the metaphysical spells feats. So he would roll concentration checks to exclude his party members as targets from explosions. And that was his whole thing. That's all he did. Crazy weird, but very fun to play. And
Very specialized.
yeah. So, but the all-time favorite, funniest, silliest thing I ever saw was a really cool lady named Rachel who used to play with us up in Townsville. Rachel, we were playing futuristic Dungeons and Dragons. So we used to have a futuristic version we played on, I think it was Thursdays or Tuesdays. We played it on one night anyway. Futuristic version. She created an android that could not speak. Okay? It only had a faceplate that could display low-res emotes. Okay? So the entire game, as soon as role-playing started till finished, right, not even any metagame chat, she would only communicate with emotes, and she had about 60 cards of emotes, and she would just put them in a little holder in front of her as to what her character's emote was at that particular time. And that was her only input. And she would literally just write down what spells and stuff she wanted, or what attacks she wanted to do on a piece of paper, and would refuse to communicate verbally for the entire session. Super
Commission a
funny.
runner session doing only that.
It was really good. It's some of the best committed role playing I've ever seen. It was amazing. I loved it. But yes, that's mine. That's mine. And then okay, to get back on track, Matt, we're going to go to you first. Flip side to the last question. Flip side. No, okay. We want to go Fenrir first. We'll go Fenrir first. Let's go back. So Matt doesn't have to. Yeah. Because Fenrir is afraid Matt's going
Throw me
to.
under. That's it. Straight under.
That's why Fenrir's been growing his beard longer to try to outbeard Matt. So
Exactly. Yeah,
Win,
you're
buddy.
next. You're next, Nietzsche.
I just trimmed mine back because it was getting a bit
Three beard
scruffy.
tattoos.
Yeah, the 3 beard coutiers. I just trimmed mine back because it was getting a bit scruffy. But flip side to the last question, Mr. Fenrir, Mr. Alex,
Yo.
what is the most epic thing you have ever seen and done?
Okay, so me and a friend in a campaign a long time ago, we actually created a phantom army. So essentially, we were fighting at one point in a small town where it went out of hand.
It sounds like it already.
The whole town burnt down. Essentially, everyone died. But word spread about this town burning down, and so we instead of squashing the rumors, we were like, hey, you know what? Let's play up to it. So we made all these rumors and spread them across throughout the thing. So when it came time to enter a new town, we would have these ribbon on our arm, because we were the ribbon army. And as soon as they saw that, the whole town would just evacuate and just run. So it got to the point where we kind of we entered a town and just we could have free range, essentially. We're like, we'll grab some of these and some of that.
Wow, super honorable.
Where really we did nothing, we just wore a ribbon and everyone left. And that's some top tier level intimidate. And what about you, Matt? What's the most epic thing you've ever done in a game of D&D?
Oh, alright. A giant corrupted beer blob monster is heading towards Neverwinter.
Yeah, okay.
200 feet tall.
Okay, yeah. Just small then,
Massive.
just a little one, a baby.
Massive. It's heading to the gates of Neverwinter. The archers are ready, catapults firing balls of fire into this blob monster with no effect. And then all of a sudden, the heroes arrive in vehicles made of dwarven keg barrels and clockwork parts.
Oh no.
One of them shows up in a tank that's in the shape of an armadillo. One of them shows up in an airship in the shape of a dragonfly. the other one showed up as, I
My
believe, like
God.
an eel that was swimming up this
Like a
channel.
submarine?
Yeah, and
Oh
then
my God.
then the three dwarven brothers that built them also joined the fight. And once the giant blob monster gets injured down to half health, they combine to make a giant Kegazord monster.
Oh my God.
With a giant kaiju
Voltron
battle.
together.
Yeah. Yeah, so they were the Mighty Dwarven Power Brewers. they called
Oh
them.
no, that's so cheesy and I love it.
Yeah, I know. I know. No, I'm a sucker for puns. My games are littered with them.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you
cheesy
learn
bad
something
jokes.
new
Never
about you
saw that
every day.
coming.
Yeah. If I can't get my players to roll their eyes at least once, I'm not doing my job properly.
Don't need to roll dice, just roll your eyes.
Yeah.
Dude, that is
Yes.
epic.
Pretty epic.
That is pretty epic. That is pretty epic. Mine feels very small after that, but I was going to say the most epic thing I ever remember doing, my like favorite thing I ever did epically in a game was I managed to somehow, because we played a game where we randomly pulled treasure from the treasure table, and I managed to, over the course of a couple of weeks, get 2 immovable rods, which so much fun. So much fun. So essentially, Chad, an immovable rod, you press a button on this little sort of, rod about this sort of size, and it will not move, cannot move. It is immovable. It is an immovable object. And
You can hang off it.
you can hang off it, you can do whatever you want. It just stays in space where it is. The cool part is if you've got 2 of them, you can like click one and hold onto it and then pull yourself up and click the next one and then unclick this one and climb. So I literally had an infinite ladder, which made for all sorts of bullshit.
Because you could essentially fly.
Yeah,
Like, you could get
very
anywhere.
slowly, very slowly fly. But that was very funny. So I managed to get into a lot of places. So yeah. But I think I lost those because I was like climbing too high and fighting some flying monsters, and then failed my save and ended up they were just stuck in the sky somewhere, thousands of feet above the ground forever. So,
You've caused an aerospace disaster.
Yeah.
So.
yeah,
To see a dragon flying along and just.
just literally bang into this immovable rod. Dear Lord. Well, hey, look, excellent answers, you two. You win 100 experience points and a cursed sword each.
Oh.
Let's get to the end of our quest here. Only a few. Yeah, cursed sword. Do not try to lick it. That's all I will say.
Curse yours.
Sure. So let's get towards the end of our quest here. Right. Only a few questions left. If you could say one thing to someone who has never played Dungeons and Dragons before to convince them to try to play it, what would it be? We'll go to Matt first. What is your one sentence to a freshy D&D player?
Take a break from yourself. Honestly.
Nice
I know that
catchphrase.
might sound like cheesy or something, but
That's a catchphrase, man.
But you live your life, you work, you pay your bills and stuff like that, and you sometimes need like a little break. It's like a vacation for your mind. You're not, working in job A or whatever. You're, a paladin that's trying to smite demons for a night. It's a little
Super
holiday for you to get in touch with, the imagination that you had when you were a kid. Like, it's insanely fun if you can tap back into that and just have a wild time and not give a shit for a night.
I was gonna say, right, I was having the worst fucking day Monday. Like it was bad. It was a full-on day. I was really stressed. I don't know if you guys noticed. It was kind of subtle, but it was
slightly.
It was a tough day.
Look, I knew something was off, but I thought you'd had a haircut or something.
Oh man, it was a tough day. And by the end of that, even though I'd been at the hotel at that point for 14 hours, by the end of that game, I'd been at work at the hotel for 14 hours. I still felt more relaxed after telling that story and playing with those players than I did beforehand. It really, I forgot I had work. Honestly, it's such a good release. It's so good.
You were the one that went the longest too.
Yeah, I know.
We were
game
waiting
went
for
the
you to
longest.
finish.
Well, I had 2 extra players drop in. I ended up with 6 people, so it really lengthened the combat.
I had one an extra druid show up.
Yeah. Bit late, but they got there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alex, Fenrir, what about yourself, right?
Oh God.
What would you say to someone who's never played Dungeons & Dragons before to convince them to give it a try? Convince chat. Chat, Fenrir's going to try to convince you to play Dungeons & Dragons. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
I guess like all I could really say is it's a place for you to truly let go and be yourself. You lose those restrictions of who you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be. Those I don't know, like you've got those stigmas like boys don't cry and all this sort of stuff. But this is the sort of place where your character can do all of these things, and you can really let go and just kind of lose yourself in the game. There's nothing quite like it really, besides going to therapy, which is boring when you can just play some games.
Nice.
I've spent way too long sitting in a room talking about feelings. It's not fun. Let's go kill something,
Yeah,
It's
let
so
your
much
feelings
more
out.
cathartic just murdering the world.
Ella's sold. You have sold Ella, who is
There we
apparently a born-again noob who's never touched D&D before.
Yes.
One of us.
One of
One
us.
of us.
Honestly, it's like, when you have those really bad days and you're like, what I need? A rec room. It's a lot like that, except it's in the world scale, and you can literally
That's
blow up
cool,
the world
man.
if that's what you want to do.
That was
Rec room
very
for the
well.
mind.
Yeah, that was eloquently
yeah.
put. Eloquently
Yeah.
put. I actually have 2 phrases I like to tell people about Dungeons & Dragons when they ask, what is that? I love to tell people, right? And you can quote me on this, chat. It is like a choose-your-own-adventure book where there are no rules except for the rules. That's Dungeons & Dragons, right?
And even those we can work around.
And even those
But
are
they're more
work
like
around.
guidelines
They're more
than
like
actual
guidelines
rules.
than actual rules. But it's it, right? Like Dungeons & Dragons is like an infinite choose-your-own-adventure book. But there's no rules in it, except there are some rules. And even then, they're more like guidelines.
And
It's-
I say to my players when they show up, I go, I'm a silly DM. If you want to try something ridiculous, I want it to happen. So you tell me what you want to do. I will figure out in this book of rules how we're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you roll like shit, it's not
It's
happening.
not going to work the way you wanted it to.
Yeah.
Ella
Yeah.
says that is
Being on the
D&D.
end of that.
That is D&D.
Oh.
We're talking about Dragons. Actually, thank you for the shout out, Ella, for Silver Spell, that legend, if you do not follow Silver Spell, who's playing Rune Factory 5. What are we doing here? We should have been watching that stream.
Mummy Silver.
Damn it.
Let's go, Mummy Silver.
Ah, Mama Silver. Actually, Matt, you know how you said if there was 10,000 people in chat and you would sing your songs as Gus. So Silver is a bit of the mob boss of Twitch. She could probably pull 10,000 people together in chat to make you sing those. So just be careful.
I
Just be
did
careful.
say, I said 50,000. See, I told you
Oh,
my
okay, so
mic
it's
was
changed.
playing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
True.
Yeah.
Hey, Smurf.
happens.
How you going, Smurf? Welcome. Yes, Silver, please. We all want to hear this.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay. Well,
We're dropping it next week.
if you can make it happen,
Ella's gonna go back and clip it.
I won't be able to do it tonight because my fiance is next door. But I'll do a live performance.
It's called Gus Goes Pop.
Yeah.
Don't cheap Ella out of these songs, Gus. Okay,
Oh.
we're gonna record.
Oh.
We're still recording our album. Ella.
Dropping an album.
We're still recording our album of Gus songs. Man, cool. Well, look. Thank you very much for joining, Raiders. We are right at the tail end, so you're here at the perfect time to ask your own questions in very short time. Silver says she's not, her net went out. The net has been really bad tonight everywhere, Silver, so I understand.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, here we are. The final round, the boss encounter of questions. Let's go to Fenrir first.
Yeah.
Me again.
You again.
I was first last time.
You have rolled
okay,
initiative,
you're right.
and you are first. How has Dungeons
That
and
never
Dragons...
happens to me.
How has Dungeons and Dragons influenced your life, friendships, careers, and perspectives? Big question.
Jesus Christ. All right. Well, I stated earlier on it was an escape from reality, and being a dad, that comes in helpful a lot too. Let's be honest. It kind of helped me grow together with a group of friends. Have this bond over, like,
lasted, well, how long have we been friends now? You know, it seems to work.
Yeah, we've been friends for a long time, and I think we've gotten closer because of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, and you know, when you move over to the other side of the screen and start running your own campaigns, it teaches you a lot on how to, you know, think on your feet and how to kind of you know, dodge things as they come to you, and that really helps, you know, in the real world when it comes to working.
Resilience.
Things like that. You know, something will just pop up, and you know, you're like, I can do this. You know, we got this workaround. So yeah, it really helps, and like, yeah, I think the main point behind it is probably just like the camaraderie that you get from it is, yeah, there's the community's great. So yeah.
Oh, much love. Much love.
Mate.
I'll do a little heart
Love
there.
the community. Yeah.
Heart for community, chat.
Yeah, so like, yeah, where the thing is, yeah, it's a place for everyone and anyone, and we're always welcoming to add new people. Like,
That's true.
no one's going to turn you
group.
away like, oh, I'm new.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, come join. Yeah, let's go throw this dude off a cliff. Great.
Smurf, that's a cute emote. Thank you. Smurf loves us, apparently. You're the best,
Hey.
Smurf. Actually, Smurf is designing an emote for this channel. I don't know if you know, chat. I can't reveal it yet. But it is epically fun, and it has something to do with a friend of the channel, Annika, who was here at the start of the stream. So, yeah, it's going to be very good. Excellent human being. Just like Ella. Look at the love from Ella, too. I love it. Well,
Oh, I love you all.
Matt, let's flick the question across to you then, right? So, final round question, boss encounter for you.
Yep.
How has Dungeons and Dragons influenced your life, friendships, careers, and perspectives?
Oh, look, mate, I don't know if you picked up on it, but I am obsessed with this game. Like, 8 hours a day at my regular job. I listen to D&D podcasts. I watch videos. I, like a maniac, will practice voices and accents while I'm driving to different jobs. So
good.
Random people next to me will see me having a conversation with myself. I am a maniac because I love it so much, and I want to give
It's just,
as
hello
much to
officer.
players as I
There's a
can.
crazy man on the freeway. He's talking to himself. He's driving
He's
erratically.
talking like an old-timey prospector for some reason. And yeah, but I love it. I love the characters. I love the community is fantastic. The least judgmental people will ever meet, because we're all trying something new and a little bit scary, getting out of your comfort zone, but it's so rewarding. And yeah, I talked to Dan because I listened to his podcast on a whim because I was out of content for the week. And then I heard Damien on the show. He said one of his biggest expenses was sanding equipment for his wood turning.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm a plasterer. I have 50,000 used sanding blocks. I'm going to reach out to this guy and see if I can help in some way, because it was really great what he was doing.
So good.
Met him, met you guys. I'm now on this, talking about D&D. Like, it's amazing what can happen. Yeah,
look, and it brings people together. It honestly has. And like I would just say as well, like our group is so diverse. You know, like we have people that are in, well, they've got to be in their 50s that are coming along. There's a couple of people who are like over 50 years old playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, parents are coming with their kids. It's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome too. Having parents coming
with
their
kids as well. So we got everyone from like 13-year-old girls and their mums playing, right? And they've been there. They're super keen. Like they're going home and like researching stuff and buying miniatures of their characters now. They're so into it. This mum and her daughter, like what a great bonding experience that is for those two, right? Like mum and daughter, they've got this game that they play every Monday night at the pub now together. Super good.
Bring them so much joy
and bring them closer.
Yeah. And other family members will be like, "What are they talking about?" And they might try and get into it. You know.
Oh man, it's super.
I felt really bad for her. She actually almost lost one of her dice. It was heartbreaking, you know.
Yeah.
We've all been there, losing your first dice, and oh man. I mean, we found it. It was in her pocket. of all places. You know how that happens. You know.
I
Ellis
was gonna
says
say, if it's a D4, you're gonna stand on
Oh,
it
yeah.
and find
Yeah,
it
exactly.
instantly.
we call so 1d4 chat. I'll show you. Hold on, I've got a dice here. A 1d4. Let's talk Dungeons and Dragons dice. A
Let's do it. We're getting
1d4
into
is this one here, right?
Wow.
Is-
Strongest shape
is
of all.
The strongest shape of all. We call these in the trade caltrops because if you drop that on the floor, it always lands point up. And if you stand on it, it hurts like hell. Do not stand on that dice, chat.
Done
It-
that one.
If you stand on it, you take 1d4 of damage.
Take 1d4 damage. You sure
It feels
do.
like more.
It feels like a lot more. Oh god, that's why we have a special bag for your dice, and it's interesting. Ella says the greatest bonding activity: smacking shit in the little world. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Of
Ella.
course.
Oh my god. Okay.
Or making with the goblins.
Look, I'm gonna participate in this question as well. I think Dungeons and
Would be
Dragons. I was not a really confident kid when I was in year 8,
Yeah,
right?
you can also-
When I was about like 13 years old, between 12 and 15, 12 and 15 years old, I was small for my age. I was one of those kids in early high school that looked like they still belonged in primary school, and there was other kids the same age as me who looked like they belonged on a work site, like they looked like they were 21-year-old kids, right?
This was
So-
at like 12 years old.
Yeah,
He came
That's-
out with it.
yeah. Matt's actually a real life
Maybe with a
dwarf.
beard.
This guy,
Yeah.
he's always had the beard.
Yep.
So for me, Dungeons and Dragons was such a good place to develop friendships and find myself, because it was a tough time in my life, man. Early high school, I really was just a very depressed, sad, young kid, and finding people that just were as weird as I was and wanted to just play some amazing Dungeons and Dragons games and Magic the Gathering as well. Just super fun, right? And you know, come 16, 17, I shot up and I like found out who I was. But before that really helped me develop interpersonal skills and just be, and look at me now, I'm talking live on the internet. I run a podcast, I do reactions, I run a hotel. There's absolutely no way that I could talk to people the way I do. And I go like next level Nietzsche persona when I'm hosting a table, right? That is 100% down to Dungeons and Dragons practice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the confidence and the ability to like snap back and have that like come back to things and funny jokes and bond with people like I'm telling a story. I just realized this now. I literally play the restaurant like a Dungeons and Dragons game where I'm like finding out what these people are saying and playing it back to them and drawing that information out of them and telling the story that they're participating in. Oh my God, my life is a lie. My
He's
whole
been
job,
a DM forever.
my whole job is being
He's
a
too
dungeon
deep
master.
into character.
He never actually left from childhood. It's
I'm having an
one big game.
existential crisis right now.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Will do.
That's actually true. It's actually true. When I'm in the restaurant or the bar or something, I treat people like they're part of a big Dungeons and Dragons game called Real Life. Oh my God. Okay.
But
Woo!
like
Deep breaths.
yeah, I would never have. I was terrified of speaking in public in like large crowds or
Yeah,
anything.
hell yeah.
I did not want to speak to strangers, and now I'm like, I do that every Monday, and I love it. I could talk in front of anyone, really. It does help you. It does empower you, and the best thing at a table, everyone's equal as well. You don't feel like you're being judged because everyone's in the same boat. They're all just trying to work together and have fun.
I mean,
That's the
I
best.
know I always start off real like awkward at the beginning until I kind of find your rhythm, you know, and you really get into it, and everyone's there. Everyone's like, you know, eyes glued, you know, what's next?
The story's evolving in
That's
their
great.
head.
Yeah.
It's
You, can,
really
you can
cool.
see it all coming together for them, and like the more you talk, the more it paints this picture for them, and the more interested they become. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, I ran the same session 2 weeks in a row.
Yes.
And the second session lost 2 combat encounters, added like that plant monster.
Yeah.
It was so different.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna try and perfect that and put it in writing. But yeah, it's different every time you play because the players are different. They
Yeah,
do
true.
different
They
things.
do different
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's awesome.
No two games are the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is super awesome. It's been a pleasure having you guys on. Right, we need to go on to our final question that I have for you, and then we'll throw it to chat. Are you ready, chat?
Oh God.
Start having a think.
Chat questions.
Start having a think, chat, because chat asks the real hard questions. Everyone knows I'm a big softie, right? I don't ask hard-hitting questions, but chat will. So get ready for some really hard-hitting questions, chat. But I have one more question for these two. And just to finish up, the final question in our Heroes Feast. Chat knew this was coming because we ask it every week. What is your favorite food to eat/make? Let's go to Fenrir first.
Oh God.
Me again. Okay. Yeah.
Always.
Well. All right.
I'm picking on you now.
Yeah. Well.
Take 1d6
I'm a
of
big
emotional.
1d6. That's generous. Yeah. No. So I'm a big sweets person. So give me the sugar. Give me something nice and tasty. Yeah. So lately in this house, we've been getting really into baking bread. Out of all things,
That's cool.
Yeah. So we've been perfecting this little bread that we've been making. It's milk bread.
Yeah.
So it varies very slightly from normal bread. It's a lot fluffier and but yeah, like there's just nothing like eating fresh homemade bread.
Yeah.
Like it's so good. And yeah, just recently, what was it? We made vanilla slice, and I didn't even know how to do that until we started. And
So good.
it's just so much fun cooking in the kitchen.
Good bonding with your family.
Yeah, get
Awesome.
the kid involved. Everyone's involved. It's great.
Oh, that's super good. And what about you, Matt? Favorite thing to eat/make?
All right, ready? I'm going to give you a total cringe answer.
I'm on
But
it. I'm ready to
You,
cringe.
you guys actually helped inspire it the way we've been talking about D&D.
Okay.
All right. Mine is Thai red curry. I love it so much, and it is actually exactly like a D&D table. You've got your mixture of sweet and
Oh,
spicy,
no.
salty.
Okay.
Everyone's different.
Yeah. Everyone's different. It's an eclectic mix that makes this beautiful dish.
I love, actually, I didn't know this before, but I love how all the red curry has those 20-sided dice in it as well. I hadn't thought about it before, but it
Yeah.
actually makes perfect sense. It is a bowl of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, you're in the middle perfectly. Just, okay.
One D&D bowl, please.
Yeah.
D&D bowl.
It's Thai food's my favorite by far. Like satay skewers, red Thai curry, coconut rice.
I worked in a Thai restaurant. First restaurant I ever worked in when I was just at the end of high school. I worked in with actually Fenrir's brother worked there as well.
I remember that.
Yes, it was a
Yeah.
really cool, just mum and dad owned Thai restaurant. Super fun. Super fun. But yeah,
Ella's got a question.
they
Ella's
do.
got a question.
First things first, before we do Ella's and chat's questions. So if you have questions, chat, throw them in there now. This is time to really roast these guys. So Maddie's
I'm
questions are
at it.
covered. Let's talk about
Fell off a
the
roof.
questions. So we have some questions from chat to finish up. Ella asks, Fenrir and Matt, what is your favorite race in Dungeons and Dragons?
Ooh, that is.
Oh god. Okay.
Lightning round. First to answer gets it.
For me to play, or for a player to play, I would say one of my players plays a Tabaxi rogue. Hilarious.
What
Talks
is
like
Tabaxi?
Vinnie Jones. Tabaxi is a cat humanoid, so picture it height of a human.
Yep.
Sometimes, actually, they can be smaller, but yeah, average height. Looks like a cat, humanoid, hybrid features.
So just asking for Ella, is there any wolf humanoid class races?
Yes.
Technically, yeah. Yeah, there is.
Just asking
There's,
I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Nothing weird.
Arakocra, which are like bird people, and then Kenku, which are like crow people.
We can just make one up.
Yeah, the Kenku are really cool. I like how they don't, they don't actually have their own language. They're just mimic.
Yeah,
great.
that is really weird actually.
The whole thing just mimic.
Well, Fenrir, what about yours? What is your favorite race in Dungeons?
Ah, man. Yeah, good question. I guess it really depends on what I'm trying to play, but a lot of the time I also try and do like really stupid builds. So like a Goliath rogue for no reason other than I just think it would be hilarious to see this like 7-foot dude like
God, trying to
tumbling
hide.
into a little box.
Yeah.
And, yeah. but yeah, I think it really comes down to, you know, what character you want to make yourself. But I personally tend towards the more towards the elves, just because I feel like they're a bit more well-rounded.
Yeah. Nice. Okay.
Like that's just personal. But yeah, the half dragons are always fun though.
Yeah, true.
Nothing beats a breath weapon.
You know what? I'm going to be super. I normally play a human. I normally play humans in my Dungeons and Dragon races. I don't know why. I think there's so much variability in them.
It was the extra feats you got.
The extra feats you get.
Variant human.
Yeah.
Classic.
You don't get looked at weird when you go into town.
That's true as well. That's true. Except if you go into a town that's all crazy weird things. Right. So next question is from Sodosif. Maddie, what is to designing a Dungeons and Dragons campaign? How do you balance player agency and the narrative you want to tell? Let's start with Fenrir. Alex this time because we started with Matt last time.
Damn it!
No, because it's Sodo. Sodo is Maddie. I know this is really confusing for me as well.
I am so confused.
We have Matt downstairs here. Where's he going? Hold on. Matt downstairs there. Right? And then in chat over here.
You're down here.
We have where is he?
You're down here on mine.
I can't poke outside of my camera, but Sodo is over here. He's Maddie. So different Maddie. Let's go with our Fenrir. Question by Matt,
all right.
Sodo Sif. What is your approach to designing a D&D campaign? How do you balance player agency and the narrative you want to tell?
Okay, so
Let's just call him Gus
first
from now
off,
on.
I
Okay.
don't.
Oh, Gus.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, so
You do not.
I guess I don't. You know, I start off with I'll have an idea of, you know, what my world that I want to make kind of is, and how I want to start it, and an idea of how I want to finish it. The rest of it is kind of left up to, you know, who comes and joins in. I don't like railroading people into like classes and races and you know, kind of narrowing down what they can do. Like the whole point of D&D is to, you know, be crazy, really do what you want to do. And yeah, I guess I just try and well, over the time I got a bit better at just making shit up as I go. Like that's 90% of what most DMs do, is just go with the, you know, roll with the punches. Just yeah, I want to go, you know, be friends with this chicken. All right, cool, too easy. You carry that chicken with you everywhere. But
No.
yeah, so really, I don't, you know, like I have basic rules for the world that I build, and I just give the players a free reign, you know.
Nice. And what about you, old Gus?
Well,
Well?
Well, all right.
Well, come, dang it, I just played.
you're all playing in my West.
Yeah, we were all playing in the Western world.
Yeah, it's 3 DMs.
Yeah.
3 DMs.
Actually, I did
One
have
big Western world. I love it.
Not to get too far off topic, but I did have a concept for 2 DMs running the same campaign at the same time.
Love it.
You give them a character prompt, they have to make up the accent and the voice on the fly and sort of go along with this double-ended cohesive story, and we call it Double Dragon.
Oh
and
my
it's
god.
just, yeah, like 10 players at this mad table, 2 DMs, and you have to try and stuff up the other DM by giving them the hardest.
West.
God. Okay. That does sound
sorry.
fun. Right, but
Sorry.
anyway, what is your approach to Dungeons & Dragons campaign design, right? Balancing player agency and narrative of what you want to tell.
It really is all about player agency. At the end of the day, you can have the best laid plans, but you want them to go right, they will go left. And
Yep.
then they will kill someone that was the father of this person over here, and now this person will hate you, and it just unravels. Like, I have plot beats for my campaign planned ahead of time for years. I plan it sort of like seasons of a TV show. This is going to be season 2, season 3. But if they do stuff in between, I will change it, because I'm like, they came up with some idea that I didn't think of that was insane and awesome, and it made my story better, or it changed it in a way I didn't anticipate, but I will correct. And now we're on this new storyline, and you know, you can still take like things that you planned for season 3 and 4 and just move them over to this new path that they've created. It's not linear, it's just collaborative sort of storytelling.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going
100%
to throw mine out there. I'm 100% player agency. So I don't create adventures. I create worlds, and you know, those worlds have a lot of things in them. And I think with good storytelling, you can tell the players like it's obvious where they want to go, and you can direct them. But realistically, if you just build a world and let your players interact in it and react to what they do, that I think is the best way for me to play Dungeons and Dragons. So, yeah,
I agree. That's exactly how I run it. Yeah.
Well, so then again, we got another question from Maddie. What is your philosophy on character death in D&D? How do you balance risk of death and desire of the players to have agency and control over the characters? So we'll go with old Gus down south here first.
All right. It's never happened yet, so I haven't had to worry about it. But
Nice.
I mean, if players die, I don't know. It's really up to them how they treat it. I would actually sit back, obviously drive the seed what happens, but actually sit back and have one of those scenes where I'm just watching characters interact with characters. And, you know, if there are NPCs that are important to the plot to be there, they obviously will, but I would actually try and encourage, you know, them to actually experience it as their characters, and me sort of take a foot off the accelerator for a moment and let them, you know, figure out what this means, because it again, it can be one of those things that takes your story on a tangent. Now they've got to go find a new hero to help, or find a way to bring the old hero back, and that's their new quest.
It's super cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, that's excellent. We'll jump across to Fenrir, but hello, pretty boy Elias. How you going? I have missed you, actually.
My main man, pretty boy.
I have missed you a lot. I haven't seen you in a little while, so...
See, we all miss you.
Much love. Much love to you. So, Fenrir, Mr. Alex.
Yes,
What is
my
your
turn.
philosophy on character death in D&D? How do you balance the risk of death and desire of players to have agency and control over their characters? Asks Matt.
So I think first off, I got to address the, so I was fully expecting that they should have done this in the movie, where they kill off a character, bring him back as someone different, the exact same actor. Because let's be honest, that's exactly what happens. But I guess it comes down to the player, and if they really, I tend not to go for the TPKs, which is total player kills. I'm not afraid of, I guess, playing as if they were in this actual life-threatening thing. It makes them think a bit more about what they want to do. But there are always options. So, like, if they want to keep that character, they really enjoyed it, they're invested, the party can say go find a cleric or some sort of holy man that can use resurrection and bring them back. Or they can follow this like story arc on how to bring your friend back to life, and I guess so there's a lot of really a lot of options. Most people that I play with have a second and a third and a fourth character that they've got handy to kind of throw into the pot, just to kind of shake things up. But I think it really comes down to the player themselves and what they would like to do.
No, it's awesome. I guess I'll share mine as well. I have an interesting take on player and character death, right? So I think a world without the risk of players dying is a false world, right? They won't participate in it. But there are other ways you can punish players for bad decisions than them dying. So their plans can fail. They can lose things. They can have the quest that they've been working towards collapse, right? But I'm not above killing players. And I had a game where a player died, right? Inherent to the story, really, really good. Just out of random bad luck, right? Absolutely died. So I then came up with a story pretty quickly that they had the body of this player. The player's ghost was following the party around, but their soul, which was in this world that I just made up at the time, the soul is the thing that binds the spirit and the body together. And the soul had been taken to the underworld. So now they had to drag the body and the ghost to the underworld to recover the soul and resurrect him. So they then had the hilarious thing where they're trying to transport a body and they keep knocking it on things and bumping into it, forgetting it and leaving it out in the cold. And the ghost is, of course, experiencing all this sort of stuff. So the ghost had to participate still in all the combat and stuff, but as a ghost. So yeah, there are ways you can do that. But I remembered something like very early on in the Dungeons and Dragons DM's guide, the guide for Dungeon Masters. There's actually a line in there that says, dice rolls are not the law, right? You will sometimes need to fudge numbers to move the story along. It is, after all, a storytelling game. Yep. So do not take the dice and the rules as facts. Fudge them in any way that you need to, because no one likes losing a high-level character to 3 failed saving rolls and a runaway cart, right? Yep. It's not fun. It's not interesting to the story. So for me, I think we need to remember that these players, although they should feel like that death is possible, they are the lead characters in this story. They do have some level of plot armor. And the Dungeon Master, a lot of Dungeon Masters chat have this idea that it's their job to kill the players. And they need to follow the rules, and it's their job to be the monsters attacking the players. But I think the Dungeon Master is more the universe itself. And this is an important story of important people that are important to some greater story. So they do have a bit of plot armor. That is my philosophy, Matty. So it's going to tell
Unless they're level 1s, then it's survival horror, man. They could
survival
die.
horror.
Survival horror.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
I don't know.
You got hit once?
Nick did kill my first one.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's just leave that. All right.
Sorry. Like I said, I'm not above killing players, but I do it very sparingly.
But yeah, like most DMs don't want to kill their players.
Some do, but most don't.
We want them to be in this story with me.
Yeah, but my characters have been the same. I mean, my players have been the same characters for the last 3 or 4 years. I love their characters as much as they do. I don't want to see them get hurt, but the world is dangerous. I want to make it dangerous so that there is risk. Otherwise, they're just like, yeah, I'm going to hit this guy. I'm going to hit this guy. I'll throw this spell. Like, no, this guy hits you like a truck out of nowhere, and you don't know why. He is so strong. He shouldn't be. Then there's a mystery, and it adds depth to the world that you're trying to build.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So Matty says
Honestly,
in chat, Matty says in chat that his favorite class / race is an Azmar Ranger because he's heard it's the least popular race / class in the game, and he wants time now.
Druids are the least popular.
Oh god.
Matty also
Wizards.
says,
And I
Wizards. No one wants those books. No one wants a book.
Yeah. Matty also says he loves the answers as well. Ella agrees with Matty that we should just call you Old Gus from now on.
Why? I've got Matt in my team. He seems unfair. I'm being targeted.
And of course,
no,
Pretty Boy Elias, absolute legend. Thank you very much. Welcome back. You are here as well. Do you have a question for us, Pretty Boy? I would love to hear your question about Dungeons and Dragons for these two lovely gentlemen.
You Pretty Boy.
Right. So Smurf asks, how do we go about a new player who is nervous and doesn't understand anything about the game? Who did we go to first last time? I think it was Maddie. So let's go Fenrir.
Okay.
Surprise question, attack. Roll for initiative.
I'm going to go grab something quickly while you answer that.
Oh, deal. Okay.
Oh, I see how it is.
Yeah.
No.
Sit through yours, you run away on mine. You obviously want a new person to have fun and enjoy their first actual game.
it's going to be the thing that they remember the most. It's this huge part of their soon-to-be future D&D world. So yeah, you want them to have fun and to be able to do all those crazy sort of things. God, what was the question again?
How do you deal with a new player who's
How do we
nervous
deal with them?
and
Right.
doesn't understand anything about the game?
So, really, it's all about patience, and we've all been new at some point, you know. So we all kind of understand that it can be pretty daunting coming into this, especially when you're playing with a lot of like seasoned players. It feels really, like these big people, and you know, you're back in primary school again, looking up at the seniors. The moment though, like when a game generally starts in this sort of, he's got the book. When the game actually starts and you get going, you find out pretty quickly that these seasoned players aren't scary, and they will in fact help you through everything that you're worried about. You know, they'll teach you what they can. Like just saying, Monday night I had another new player that came in, and we all kind of just I guess help them along with what they can and do, you know, what their spells are like, things like that. And it's that taking it slow with them that really, I think, is necessary.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt? Sorry, old Gus. What about you, old Gus?
No,
How do you
you say it now? It's legally binding.
It's legally binding. Yeah, change the name. So what do you do with new nervous players who might not understand anything about the game, which we have a lot of experience with recently, Smurf, because we have lots of new players in our pub D&D game. Because we run D&D at a pub. There's 3 of the Dungeon Masters right here. So what have you been doing with your new players, Matt?
Usually, if I've had new players at the table, so the guys that hadn't played in 25 years, essentially playing a new game, a new version of D&D. So,
That 5th edition. Oof.
it is pretty user friendly. But I always ask them what they want to do. Like, what is it that you're trying to achieve, or what is it you want to do? And then I can suggest ways of doing it. I do try and explain, like, there is stat sheets and these are your ability scores and stuff, and get into the minutia. But actually just asking them as a character, what is it that you want to do in this moment? A crocodile's attacking this dog, which is a druid, in the mud at the moment. You guys have just seen this. What do you do? And he's like, I'm going to run over there and hit him with they'll look at the sheet quickly and go, great club. I go, cool. Roll a d20, roll this dice, add that, and that's how you do damage. And I'll just circle it for him and go, that's all you need to know whenever you want to do the attack. Like, when you say, I want to do attack, that's how you do it. If you want to do anything else outside of combat, I'll figure out what it is that you actually want to achieve and go, yep, you just roll this one here. It's pretty simple. The sheets now, very intuitive. And I usually have an experienced player sitting with them as well. Everyone's really friendly, and actually, like you said, they want to help the other players. Either they're genuinely nice people and do want to help, or they're power gamers and they want the pick up the game.
Yep.
So they're going to help regardless. It's a really friendly space. You can learn D&D over time. You can instantly play that night if you just communicate what you want to do. A DM will be like, sure.
Yep.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of similar. For me, with a new player, Smurf, I like to get them involved as much as possible in the role playing. So I'll be asking them like, oh, okay, what do you want to do? This is what's happening. The paladin is down here. The wolf is over here attacking this person. These people are scrambling on the ground. What do you want to do? And they're sort of like, I want to do this. Okay, cool. Well, then you need to roll perception. That's your thing there. Roll that dice. Let's see what happens. Oh, you got a very high one. You actually see that it's not a wolf. It's a marionette that's been controlled by a little devil in a tree. what do you want to do with that information? You're the only one that knows it.
Classic.
Yeah, and just, like you're letting them role play a bit, and the dice and the numbers almost become secondary, and they're just like, oh, roll, no, I do need to roll. Yeah, and they're just engaged in the story, and by the end of the game, they realize that, oh, no, I know what to do now. Like, I roll the dice, and I'm looking at something, or I'm attacking something, I get this dice, and they build up the nuts and bolts over time. I think it's more important to get them into the story, and that's what I try to do, is making sure that we're including them in role playing. So yeah, that's what we do, Smith. Hopefully, that's
I think the first thing too is letting them know that the dice can be daunting. You've got so many of them that do so many different things. The first thing I say is like, this one here, this is the D20. This is your lifeblood.
Yeah, look at those dice, chat.
When I say roll, that's it. That's the dice you're rolling. Roll that.
Yeah.
It's the fate
it
dice.
kind of
It decides fate. Like, it's to do whatever you want, and then the other dice are like your damage and anything else.
That's secondary. You bring that up afterwards. But so it's like, don't worry about the other ones. Put them to the side until we say otherwise. This is what you want.
Oh, it's lovely.
This is your go-to.
Oh, well, Elias has missed us too, and Fenrir misses Elias more, which Elias says is impossible. Maddie loves the answers. Ella says druids are the best.
I agree, Ella.
I agree.
I do
I
love
agree.
druids.
I just said that they're the least popular class, but I personally do love druids.
Druids are excellent.
A good druid.
Right, so Pretty Boy has chimed in with a question. What is your process on creating your first character? I actually might go first here.
Okay.
I flicked through the player's handbook, Elias, and I picked a ranger first, right? I actually think I picked him because it reminded me of Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, right? And I wanted to be that tracker / hunter. And I actually loved, for the ranger, I read through all the character stuff, right? I loved that the ranger had the ability to track things. And I remember there's one line that hooked me. And it was talking about different dice checks, different difficulty scores, and it was anything between someone being able to track a party of 6 who had moved through a muddy terrain an hour ago, all the way up to a really skilled ranger with track who could track a single escaped bandit over rocky terrain from a week ago, and it snowed yesterday, right? Like, rangers are like super trackers, and I was like, that is amazing, right? Like, imagine rolling a score and being like, I can do that. So I read through everything that was about the ranger, and then I followed the guide and I created my first character by myself, and then I brought it to my friends and they helped me fix a few mistakes that I'd made. But that was my process. When I've got players that I want to show how to create a new character, for me it's I really step them through and I ask them, do you play any MOBA games or video games, or what sort of characters do you normally do? What sort of characters do you enjoy in stories? Do you like shooting bows? Do you like using big swords or 2 swords, or do you like rushing into battle? Do you like casting spells? Do you like protecting people? Right? And we whittle it down. I'm like, okay, well, you would probably like these 3 classes. Let's start you with a human, because I like humans, apparently. It's weird, but I think they're an easy way to start. We'll start you off,
versatile.
So they're versatile. And you talk them through it, and you create that little character with them, and they really understand. The way that we've actually been doing it in our club, interestingly enough, is we built what are called pickups. So the pickup characters are literally just a character that is a skeleton. It is got all the nuts and bolts figured out, and we actually provided a picture for each one as well. And you can pick it up and add a little bit of flair to it, and it's ready to go. Just makes it really fast for people, so we don't spend hours creating characters before games for 20 people. They can just start with a character ready to go, pick it up. Experienced players will fiddle with it. New players will pick it up and go, oh, okay, yeah, I can play with this. So that's the way, 3 different ways I deal with first characters. Fenrir, do you want to go next? how do you deal with creating first characters?
Sure, why not? Okay, so obviously,
on the
my
spot
first
now.
character was a druid. I did the same thing, I searched through and had a look around at everything. But
You just wanted to be
the
a wolf,
druid
didn't
really,
you?
well, I liked the companion. That was a really cool thing, and I did like having a wolf companion. Not gonna lie.
Well, Ella's an
Um,
emotional support wolf to the internet.
Yeah.
'Cause they're a lovely human being and a lovely emotional support wolf. So that's why we like having you here, Ella.
That's right. So yeah, I basically fell in love with the druids, with the nature, having these animal companions and stuff. So that was kind of like what drew me into that character to start off with. But evolved from there, and now my go-to is actually a monk, which is completely opposite, really, like living up in the mountains, punching people. But yeah, if I'm trying to bring someone new into it, like you said, you want to ask them what kind of things they're into, like, what games they play, what kind of roles did you play in those games, I also go into like, do you watch anime, or did you grow up, watching the cartoons on Cheese TV, and, what kind of speaks to you, and then we go through and have a look at the characters and have an explanation about what the races are and what they do, and just kind of slowly bring them into it. And I guess that's kind of how I would try and help someone create their new one. It really comes down to what they'll enjoy, so you want to get to know exactly what they want.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what about you,
Yeah.
Matt? How do you go about creating first characters?
Sorry. I interpret it as like what was the process for my very first character I ever made.
Yeah, that's fun. That also
yeah,
counts.
okay.
I did
Yeah,
all three, so.
We did
Yeah,
it.
I am so glad that you guys answered so eloquently, because mine was not as nuanced or elaborate. My best friend of 20 years is a Kiwi, and he decides, from New Zealand, and he decided to make a ranger with a full, thick Ocker Aussie accent. It was pretty much like Crocodile Dundee as a tracker doing like the animal, like
Oh god.
Please, someone make either a druid or a ranger
it gets
as
worse.
Steve Irwin,
It
please.
gets worse. So I decided to make a orc barbarian named Gork. the orc.
Oh yeah, we've all had an orc barbarian before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he was from Auckland in New Zealand.
From Auckland.
Yeah. And yeah, he spoke with a thick Kiwi accent.
So those of you who are not from Australia or New Zealand, Auckland, spelled Auckland.
AU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Auckland is the capital of New Zealand.
New Zealand. Yeah.
But obviously
So,
an orc
yeah.
from Auckland, who's a
Yeah.
Kiwi orc, spelled Orcland.
Yeah.
Very funny pun.
but-
If you haven't noticed, Matt likes puns.
Yes, I'm partial to a pun, and it was not New Zealand, it was ye old Zealand.
Ye old Zealand.
Yep. And that was the process of my first character. It was revenge.
So good. So good.
Brilliant.
Petty revenge.
Petty revenge. Yeah. Yeah.
But over time, we actually really enjoyed each other's characters. Like, it was hilarious. Obviously, we're taking the piss out of each other.
Yeah. But that is a key Australian and New Zealand trait, is we take the
Yeah.
piss out of each other all the time. Right?
Yep.
We do not have very many tall poppy. I don't know if you know, those of you in Australia, we don't like what we call tall poppy syndrome. People who talk themselves up and feel like they're the best sort of people, right? Like they want to be, yeah, I know how to. It's like, yeah, okay, mate, whatever. Just relax, just chill out. Crazy.
And the people that talk to you the worst in your life are your best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll call you every name under the sun.
Yeah. Some of which
that
will
your
get us
worst
banned on
enemy-
Twitch.
Yeah,
So.
that your worst enemy would do. For example.
For example, here, let me list all of them.
Mute.
Yeah. Just keep listing until
yeah.
the stream gets killed.
But it was actually, you know, Australia and New Zealand, we get along, we take the piss out of each other, obviously, but it's a multicultural sort of, you know, existence that we have. And he loved my character so much that he taught me how to do the haka for...
Oh, it's so good.
Nice.
So good.
Yeah, because I went ancestral barbarian. So I would summon my ancestors when I went into a raid,
Very
and
cool.
they would all line up and do the haka.
God, that's funny.
Brilliant. That's so good.
Well, Elias, Pretty Boy Elias says, awesome answers. Thank you, guys. That was awesome.
Thank you
Man.
for the question.
Dude,
Thank you.
I've got to say, my cheeks are like hurting from smiling and laughing so much.
Yeah.
So you have been absolutely awesome guests. I don't think I have any more questions. Well, I was going to say, I don't have any more questions from chat. Do you have any questions for me?
I got a question from everyone, I guess.
Excellent. Question away.
What was the funniest thing to ever happen, either to you or someone else playing D&D? I can go first if you like.
Okay.
So we always played with one friend who he never varied from his character.
Oh, I
From
know
the
who you're
moment he
talking about.
first started to the end. He was a female halfling rogue. That was
Starts
it.
with
That
L,
was
ends in EM.
100%. Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
So
He doesn't
that
watch
was
this
his
show.
go-to all the time. Like there was no variations in like what the hundreds of games we've played. That was it. Never changed. So it was actually one of Nick's games that he gave him a cursed ring. Being the rogue that he was, he would take everything first and pretend nothing was there. And so he got this ring, didn't know it was cursed, stuck it on, and it actually got stuck to him. He couldn't remove it, and it changed his sex, race, and not class, I don't think,
No, yeah,
but his sex and his race. And he just hated that so much. It was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, he was not
And
happy.
so he decided it would be better to just cut his finger off because he was so unhappy with it. And I remember using something very similar in one of my games later, and it went way more south than that. I wasn't expecting it. A half orc was like, "I've got you, I'll help you," and got his massive axe and actually cut the whole dude's arm off instead of the finger.
Oh, God.
Oh god, it was just
Here, let me help with my giant
concoction
surgical
of
axe.
just mental. Yeah, he's like, "Oh, that's not gonna work." It's just the whole thing.
God.
So yeah, that's mine.
Man. What about you, Matt?
Sorry,
What about you?
What
Matt?
about you, Matt?
any
Funniest
questions?
thing. Funniest thing you've
Funniest
ever
thing
done.
you've ever done or seen?
Oh, that is tough. I mean, my players are a bunch of knuckleheads, and they have done a lot of stupid shit. The Kegazord fight that I
Yeah,
talked
okay,
about.
yeah. Can we top that?
Oh wait,
please?
everything great starts with Kegazoid.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they by the way, they hated that fight. It went for way too long. My fault, but it was great. It was great storytelling and world building, but yeah, combat just it wasn't great. But it was funny because in a previous session, like months before, they had a battle of the bands against a heavy metal band full of bards called Beelzebub. Another pun, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And they had a battle of the bands, and then all of a sudden the lead singer of Beelzebub was losing this battle, so he kicks open this keg, spills over the audience, and starts turning them into like corrupted zombies. And this infection spreads, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the bard / rogue that's performing decides to drink a potion that I'd given him specifically for that Kegazord fight months in advance.
Yeah.
Right? Drinks it, shoots up 100 feet tall, And instead of killing these zombies in this mosh pit, essentially, just keeps performing until the potion runs out and then shrinks back to size. And I told him after the session, I laughed my ass off about it. But I told him, I said, I had big plans for that potion, you know. I was planning on you fighting this blob monster as well. And then we got months later, it was just like, this is so stupid that he used this thing. We got to this Kegazord fight, and I was like, do you remember months ago when I told you about that potion? He goes, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that'll come in handy now. Man,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
don't know what your players are going to do.
I'm gonna have to go with honestly with that latest game. I think it was hilarious with the barbarian who decided to be pacifist
That's great.
and turning an elder god into a cat with a potion of cat out of nowhere. Did not plan that. It just happened through that one brand new player's role play. Just excellent. Okay, so I'm just going to turn to the camera. We'll do a YouTube outro. Right, so, hey, thank you, YouTube, in the future, if this is on YouTube, which I assume it will be, and podcast listeners, we love you all. Thank you for tuning in. I just want to say we really appreciate it. Please follow these guys. I'll link any of their social medias and stuff in the chat, and thank you very much. Chuck it in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, because these guys have been legends. They've come and talked about Dungeons and Dragons today with us, and we really, really appreciate it. So thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Goodbye. That's not for you, chat. That is for YouTube and podcast in the future. You stay where you are, and we'll see you later, YouTube.
Later.
Okay.
Bye, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube. See you later.
You were never the same.
Okay. YouTube has rolled a natural one. They are out. Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. You can watch me stream on Twitch, catch my videos right here, or check me out on Instagram. Hope to see you next time. Cheers.